joined the team in 2010 following an earlier career in retail design. She's an Arido Design interior designer, ARIDO. I trust that, I think Jen would know what that is. Anyway, she's an Ontario qualified and registered designer, a lead AP, and she has a personal specialty in passive solar and finished materials. Melanie is eminently qualified to assist with a wide-ranging design needs. She leads the Evolve design team for in-house full-service design-build projects or as supplemental service to aid bid-build projects in climate-conscious design and construction. I've worked with Melanie both as a board member and as a professional, and we are in for a treat.
I hope so.
Birding too?
You know,
might
birds come into
birds
everything.
Come in. Okay. All right, without further ado.
Thank you. Woohoo! Thanks, everyone. Yeah, yesterday I was birding, so I couldn't make the conference. But I'm here today, and birds will factor in, I'm sure, a little bit, as they tend to do. Thanks, Tim, for the introduction. And, oh, thank you. Do I have to yell a little bit more? Is that good? Can everyone hear me now? Excellent. Okay. Also, if you don't have a colored card at your chair, please feel free to grab one from somewhere else. If you don't have a writing implement, please feel free to grab one from me or someone else. You're going to need them this morning, and we'll have lots to pass around as we go as well. So today is about freeing the creative spirit through design. And I believe yesterday you probably had a fairly technical day. So today is going to be the complete antithesis of that. We are just going to have fun this morning, hopefully. I think it's fun. Hopefully you'll think it's fun too. So we're going to involve ourselves in an interactive design charrette. And you guys get to play with your right brain a little bit and come up with something creative for some very discerning clients who we'll meet a little later in the show. So as Tim mentioned, I am the design department manager at Evolve Builders Group and also senior designer. I do lead our team in both in-house design builds, as well as supplemental design for our bid build projects. I am an Arido, Associated Registered Interior Designers of Ontario member, and as Tim had also introduced, I do love passive solar design, carbon conscious design, anything related to environmentally sound materials and practices. And anytime I can incorporate those, all the better. I do live in an uncertified passive house that I designed, Evolve built. It's in the middle of nowhere on the top of a hill that's nothing but rocks, and love it. So it was also described as the fastest build in Evolve history, from my purchase of the property, designing it, permitting it, building it, and moving in. So I wanted to start off with a quote from Corita Kent. She was a nun with the Immaculate Heart School in the 60s and 70s, 50s through 70s, I guess, we could technically say. And she sort of thought outside the box of what some might think of as a typical nun in a school teaching art. She was really concerned with racism, social ethics, whatnot, and she really campaigned for a better future for everyone through art and through design. So one of her quotes is, "Not all of us are painters, but we are all artists. Each time we fit things together, whether it's a loaf of bread, a child, a day. To dream about painting is not also to work at it doesn't ever bring about a painting. So to dream about creating a new world that is not teetering on the edge of total destruction and not to work at it doesn't bring about a peaceful world. So it's important that we are creative people, working daily on the greater picture as well, bringing to it all of our skills of imagination and making, which I think the reason most of you are here today is somewhere embedded in this statement. So how many folks in the audience, because it's been a while since I've presented or attended the ONBC, and I don't know all of you anymore, how many of you folks are designers? All right. How many of you folks are architects? Okay, a little fewer. Engineers? Even fewer still. Builders? General artists? Non-creative types? All right. Excellent. I was hoping for at least a few non-creative types in the mix today. That's always a good sign. Because you're all going to get creative today, whether it's part of your daily routine or not. And I think we'll have fun. So as I mentioned, this just an example of Sister Mary Carita's art as part of her work in that era, reflecting her concerns about poverty, racism, war, and messages of social justice and peace. So why am I here? What are we doing and what's the problem? So as a design builder, as I'm sure many of you can experience or attest to, I tend to get into the details right away. So I know, how is the HVAC going to be run? How is the foundation going to be built? Is this detail going to come together or not? And I forget about the joy and the fun of design. And so sometimes I like to go back to that and try and find ways to explore that creative side. And so what I'm hoping today is that we can just take a step back, employ what you know, but also just kind of come back from it and just enjoy for a change, because these are clients that you don't really have to design for. For even some of you in the audience who said you're not really creative types, everybody can draw, design, think. Essentially, if you are a thinker rather than a designer, we can look at ways to bring those ideas to fruition, put them onto paper, create them. But don't try and do it at the same time as you're actually creating. It's two different processes, as you probably know from all your past art school training. Right brain, left brain, sort of battling each other, and analyzing and being creative are different processes. So hopefully today we're going to create. And we can approach the project differently, like this lady has tried to do. We can take a creative approach to the mundane, the tried and true, and think about using a material in a different way. Has anyone heard of straw as insulation? Wink, wink. We can modify the order of elements. We can substitute, combine, magnify, minimize. So one of the classic art books, Design Through Discovery, the objective of design is to create something better than what existed before. A more beautiful appearance, a more functional shape. So let's start with a couple of brainstorming ideas. Can you guys think of an everyday shape that could be used in a more beautiful way? So why don't we start with a toothbrush? What's a more beautiful thing that we could use a toothbrush for? Shout them out. Painting. Okay. That could be beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful results.
Exactly. Painting, cleaning. biz card. Nice.
Sweeping out a dollhouse.
Sweeping out a dollhouse. That's very specific. I love it. Couple more. What is it? Make it into a doll. After you've swept out the house, you can make the doll and put it in the house.
Beard brush, yeah.
A hair, beard brush. Right. Art. That's a great one to end on there. Excellent. So that's, that's the modus operandi of today. Let's try and think about different shapes, different ideas, things that are going to add to the creative element in a different and unique way. Sometimes I get that from our clients, so just to give you a couple of examples, what happens when a client gives you one word? What do you do with it? So one of our clients said origami. That's what they wanted the space to feel like. And so first thing I did is I just took a piece of paper and folded it up. All right, there we have the very basics of origami. I started to twist it, think about what that shape might actually look like. Michelle might be able to attest to this. Then I started to figure out, how is it all going to actually come together? So that started to get a little bit more left brain. But I think designers stray away from maquettes. And so this is a little cardboard maquette of what would eventually become the actual piece. So don't be afraid to build little models and test things out. And then eventually, a little bit of sunshine in our way here, but eventually that became what was a plywood staircase that essentially was designed to look as though it was folding on itself from top to bottom 3 stories. And so it wraps around here to the basement, wraps around the wall, and it sort of is meant to look like it folds over like origami. So from a single word, that's kind of how you can start to play with that, even though you're not sure where it's going to lead. Everyone knows biophilia in nature, so taking something from nature and using it to inspire. And we do this a lot, probably all of us in the room, because of the nature of the type of building and designing that we're doing. And in this particular case, we really wanted to focus on some of the plants that were on the property. Unique plants. The project was right next to the Bruce Trail, up on the Bruce Peninsula. It has unique and beautiful plant life, and drawing on that exact same color scheme to develop some bold colors for the interiors. Same project, same thing, texture and nature. So looking at this birch tree that had been pecked away at by birds, there we go, had to introduce them somehow. But the project was also, again, Bruce Peninsula, full of rocks. And some of the colors and textures then started to inform the countertop, the tile selection, to try and bring in some of those inspirational textures. So, since you guys went to design school, architecture school, we're going to go back to basics. And while this is a workshop in freeing the creative spirit, sometimes it's really helpful to have some guidelines. And that's what the elements of design and principles of design assist with. So starting with the elements of design, space, a sense of the space, volume, line, fairly straightforward. Form starts to take shape. Is it square? Is it a cube? We have texture, so like those images I just shared, or even the image on the screen here, we can start to see some of these things coming into play. So we've got, really hard line. We've got texture coming in here. There is color. There's a bit of light play on this. Hard to see in the sunlight, but there is a bit of light play on it. And time is an interesting one too. So the space, the progression of something within that time frame. And I liked the quote from the AIA, the Architect Institute of America Framework for Design Excellence, which we'll touch on in a moment. But every line drawn should be a source of good in the world, which I thought was quite appropriate, again, for this group in particular, and what we tried to do. So then getting back to basics, vocabulary in design, principles of design, so building on the elements. We've got balance, which you can sort of start to see in this image that's on the screen here. There's a bit of, it's heavier at the top, but a little lighter at the bottom, but it starts to create a sense of balance or imbalance, can also be effective. Rhythm, we've got the lines moving from top to bottom. Emphasis, that upper section is really bold and dark. It's taking precedence over the stuff that's below. However, it does seem to be in proportion. It feels like it's proportionate. It's also in scale. So the top is quite wide. There's wide planks. The bottom is quite narrow planks. There's some unity to it, even though they're very different. So variety and harmony. If you guys also remember from art school, and I'm hoping we'll all employ it today, is a viewfinder. So it's a little piece of paper with a little rectangle cut out of the middle. And you hold it up to your eye, and you glance around, and you try and focus on something. And what it does is it cancels everything else out, and you start to see what is a soffit and end gable paneling as just line, shape, texture, color. And so we'll use the viewfinder today in the design so that you can sort of cut out the clutter and find something that brings some inspiration to the design that you guys will do. I also wanted to touch on the AIA framework for design excellence. And this is a framework that, as they say, seeks to inform progress towards a zero carbon, equitable, resilient, and healthy built environment. The framework's 10 principles are relevant for every architect, client, every project, regardless of size, typology, or aspiration. So I thought that this was a nice continuation of the elements and the principles of design for a group like ours, where these can become principles that you can help to develop design and build creations. So that's design for integration, equitable communities, ecosystems, water, economy, energy, wellness, resource use, change, and discovery. We also want to talk about design for resiliency. I was having a great conversation with Tim before the presentation around some work down in the Lake Erie area and how in the winters the ice can push up against the shore, the wind pushes it up and sort of scars away everything. So climate resiliency, building for things that a building can absorb, resist, accommodate, recover from, including through preservation and restoration, the essential basic structures and functions. And it's essentially the ability of a building to respond and bounce back from disaster. But we also want to talk about client resilience. So as a designer, we're not just thinking about all the things that we always do about climate change and climate resilience, but there's some client resiliency. And so as a designer, I tend to get into more the physiology and the psychology of a client. And how do you empathize with that client to figure out exactly what they want? What are their characteristics that you want to impart in the build? And eventually support their well-being, because if they are resilient, they will go on to produce amazing results. Going back to Karita Kent's mission statement at the beginning of creating this beautiful world. And then we want to, design for our own resiliency. So if there's, again, designers and architects in the audience, know you're always struggling with workload and creative blocks and client frustration and rejection. And those things can be a real challenge. But there's something very uplifting about design, practicing creativity. It brings an opportunity for mindfulness, because if you can get out of that left brain analytical thinking, you can start to become aware of the sensation as being pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, like a good Buddhist might. And you can start to cultivate joy in that design. Most of what I do with my clients is joyful, because I bring that sense of joy to the project. We enjoy working together. I'm cultivating relationships. It's not just about the end product. It's about the experience. And for me, when all else looks bleak, I find that I can use my creativity as an inner resource to remain resilient for whatever else is happening in the world at that time. All right, so let's get our brains warmed up. You've got a piece of paper in front of you, and I would like you to draw on it 3 triangles. And then once you've felt like you've got 3 triangles, they can be any size, they can be pointing in any direction, they can be wonky, you can get out your ruler if you're so inclined, whatever you want, anything, but they just must be 3 triangles. And I'll give those fumbling with pens and whatnot a few minutes here. And in the meantime, I will all right. You guys have 30 seconds to create something in each one of those triangles. It must be something different than all the rest. Anything. Go.
All right.
20 seconds left. Ten seconds left. All right, you're done. Let's get my pen here. Shout out some ideas. What did you guys come up with?
I kind of tried to hang a dream catcher thing in.
Oh, a dream catcher, okay. Very nice. You got some mountains. Watering can. Okay, yeah. A teepee. A-frame. Okay. What was that? Christmas tree. A slice of pizza. Nice. A pattern, yeah, nice, like a geo
They went
pattern.
all over the place trying to make more triangles until there were none left.
Yeah, that's sacred geo kind of thing, nice.
Quite.
Profane people.
Profane, absolutely. Black, so I did texture.
Ooh, yeah, like a relief instead. All right. Anybody else? This side, we got some guys over here. What did you?
Join the tribe.
You joined the triangles. Yes.
I drew more triangles.
Oops. You drew more triangles. That's same like the textures. Yeah, okay. We got lots of that going on. That's my wonky shape there. Anyone else want to shout out? Oh. Well, that's exciting. We'll do a shape. How's that? Anyone else?
That look kind of like trusses, but, or window stained glass kind of situation.
Okay, yeah.
Geometry is all a part of that.
Yeah, trusses, like that's where we start to get into that, you know, the builder in us again, right? It's nice.
Can't get away.
No?
That's a parallel quick.
Excellent. That's great. Well, I'm glad that you guys were come up with some. I had a couple in my brain. I had a beehive. I had a ice cream cone. And I can't remember what the third one now. So he did better than me. All right, we're going to start to get into our design charrette. And so again, this is the idea of getting out of our left technical brain, analyzing, and explore the creative right-brained side. So we're going to design a living space for two very discerning clients. And we're going to break out into groups. So the colored papers you have will signify the groups that you're going to join. And we're going to combine some because there's not, you know, tons of people here. So we'll combine some colors and then you guys will get together. I've got some materials here to work with. So I've got some boxes, newsprint, graph paper, sisal, some scissors and X-Acto knife, craft paper, some colored pencils, regular pencils. And you'll see why in a moment. We'll have it's
From my job.
excellent. Well, maybe you'll have a fantastic new
Consultant on the side.
design out of this. So we'll have 30 minutes to do this, and after we're done, we'll come back. We'll share our ideas and talk about what was good and what was not so good about the experience. So let's meet our clients. So this is Finkelman. He is a feisty firecracker. He's curious, he's agile, he can jump 3 feet in the air. He's very discerning, he's very particular, and he's very watchful. His brother Mumford is more of a homebody. He is cautious, but an intrepid explorer nonetheless. He loves a good place to dig and flop, and he'll try most anything, especially food. And they have a brother, a friendly neighbor, Raymond, who does pay frequent visits to hang out, but no guest suites are necessary. He doesn't stay overnight. So we're going to design a living space for our clients. And some of the materials might now start to make a little bit more sense in that it has to be safe, enjoyable to be in, and visually appealing because I live with them. And so I want it to look nice in my design office. So some of the things that I want you to incorporate today, because I know getting into a group, designing on the spot is hard, and our creative brains might be a little slow, especially if you guys had your own spirits last night. So some of the things that I'd like to see incorporated are an everyday object in a new way, so like we talked about with the toothbrush example. something that you learned about in yesterday's sessions or are hoping to learn more about today, an item that theoretically, I realize we don't have those items here today, but you can draw it, something that is carbon neutral or carbon positive. One element of the design should incorporate the color of your particular group, and a shape that I'll come around and assign you guys. I'm going to come around and give you a viewfinder, and so I'd like you to go and use something that you find using the viewfinder. Something local, beautiful, found on site, that could also be from the viewfinder. You don't have to, doesn't have to be physical, but if you really like a rock that you saw outside, you could incorporate that. And something that brings you joy. There's a little bit of design ego in here, right? So there's 30 minutes on the clock. Probably best if we get set up on the tables over here. And we'll split out the groups like so. There are 2 blues and 1 sort of much lighter blue. So, yeah. You sure can.
I just want to confirm that those are actually guinea pigs before I start to...
Oh, they are rabbits.
Oh,
Thank you. See, it's important to understand your clients.
2 rabbits and a cat.
2 rabbits and a cat. Good eye. That one doesn't look like the others. 2 rabbits and a cat. They're lop-eared rabbits, so they look a little guinea piggy. Yeah. Yeah. So 2 blues, that blue and that blue. And then black and brown will be a group. Yeah, you're a weird blue, so I'll tell you where to go. Black and brown will be a group. There's 2 greens. Green will be a group. 2 pinks, the sort of fluorescent-y pink and the lighter pink will be a group. There's 2 purples, you'll be a group. The light weird blue and the gray will be a group. There's 2 oranges. And then there's 2 yellow oranges. And I'll come around and sort you if you're not sure of what color you are, or if you're color blind, I will come and help you out. Yeah, so I'd say assemble into your sort of respective groups, head up to the dining area to claim your steak. All right, as the rest of the group make their way back down, what was easy about this for everybody? What did you guys find? Collaboration was easy? That's good, because group work can be hard. So that's...
Clearly defined constraints, like they were pretty...
Yeah, they left you some openness to explore, but gave you some direction.
Some boundaries,
Yeah.
And you can choose your own priorities, right? Like whether it was
Yes.
the form, or whether it was the functionality, or whether it was...
Yeah.
Because you only had 30 minutes.
That's right. You got to choose. Yeah.
I think definitely it's a group. You had a lot of different strengths in all the different groups. I was just amazed that it's how different it was from our group, how the thought process of
Yeah.
came out.
Seeing all the different approaches to it.
Yeah.
What was difficult? What did you guys not like about it? What was hard to... Welcome to the design world. Yep, time constraint.
I would say like an easy thing was ideas.
Yeah.
The hard thing was picking which idea to go.
Ah,
Ideas, some
okay.
say too many.
Yeah. Yep.
Just picking a direction to actually go with without stepping on anybody else's toes, I think was
Yep. That's great. I'm glad there were more ideas. You guys are a creative bunch, obviously, so nice to see.
The different
Yeah.
way people process. We were talking about, I'm a thinker, I need to sit and think, and others needed to start thinking
Draw.
stuff
Yeah.
straight away. So everybody processes differently.
Yep, exactly.
And tries to see that vision differently. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. It was just
It is difficult. It is when you're working in a group where you're working with clients who, I mean, for the most part in design, most clients haven't done this before. So even if they have a vision, they probably aren't accustomed to reading floor plans. They've thought about this, but not necessarily visualized how they want to do it. So that can be a real challenge to work with. Anything else? What would you change about your design if you had more time?
I'd make mine edible as well.
I mean, they're rabbits, they'll eat it even if it's not edible, but yes, edibility is a good feature.
You gotta rebuild it all the time. Just finish that.
Yeah, that's part of the joy and the hassle, as you'll see in a minute. So this is just a little snippet of time, a little snippet of design, but could you guys see a way to incorporate this sort of creative process or creative ideas into your daily practice? Something that you could sort of step back from the thinking and the analyzing and just get creative for a minute? Hopefully, yes.
I don't think my boss would appreciate that.
Take some time off. Just explore for a bit. Depends on your workforce. Yes, indeed. So I don't know how well they'll come up, but our bunnies live in a place that we call Bunny Village. And I'm the mayor of Bunny Village. And as Terrell just alluded to, the joy and the hassle of building for bunnies is the constant change. So we, have started with something really low to the ground. We moved into some vertical density here. They've got a ramp and a slide. Rabbits like slides, just for the record. If you've never seen a rabbit slide, it's fantastic. I know. I wanted to see what you guys thought. And, Michelle just mentioned edibility, so we have our little cardboard star cutouts that they nibble away at as biscuits. We also have an apple tree, so they get real live apple branches and whatnot, which Raymond, this little lump you see here is Raymond with the two buns in the back, comes in and likes to hang out for apple branch time. So from today, I'm hoping you guys can take away an action plan for your own daily design practice, whether that's taking a macro photo like you've seen at the side of some of my slides. Those are just visual textures and shapes and things that I gather. When I go to a job site, I look at the site that way before I even start designing to try and pick up on textures and shapes and colors and whatnot. Something that could be turned into design later. And changing how you see the things around you with the viewfinder or other things, or thinking about an object in a different way like we explored today. And then creating some sort of sense diary and starting, a drawing, like a line one day and adding to that line the next day and the next day and the next day. And what do you come up with at the end of that creation? So, you can see how it changes and see if anything comes of that, and just kind of get that, nice freeing of your creative spirit. And then be a design champion. Cultivate your own creativity in whatever way that works for you every day. So thank you. Thanks for attending. I love the results. Thank you very much. I'm going to go around and take some photos. If you have lovingly borrowed something from nature, please do return it. And I will collect supplies and everything else that will be reused, some of it in Bunny Village, and otherwise recycled. So I'll take care of that while you guys are on break.
Okay, that's, yeah. Raffle tickets, clean up, you've got 10 minutes to clean up your stuff if you haven't cleaned up your stuff from your cabin. So that's 2 weeks.